All right. It's supposed to be morning, but good evening, ladies. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you guys doing? I have coffee. I don't know what you guys have. If you have water, whatever it is that you feel like drinking right now, because it is evening. We've been doing this once a month, right? Once a month, getting together to just have some uplifting, high vibrational combo.
Yes.
So no matter wherever you guys or whatever you decide to listen to this, drop me a comment and let me know how you guys are feeling about the conversation, and add your 2 cents in, right? Um, we're going to be talking about alignment and why I keep forgetting how I wrote this shit. Alignment, isn't it supposed to feel good? And I know we all have our interesting stories of how or when a particular part of our life we're trying, I don't want to say trying, but aligning with our spiritual direction or teams may have not felt so good. So let's see. Who wants to tell? Who wants to tell something?
Just getting aligned myself has taken me away from people that have been in my life, friends that I've known for so very long, because it's like we just don't quite click anymore. And that's hard. It's difficult to have to say bye to the people that have been a part of you for so long. So that's been
Mm.
one of the hardest things for me with getting into alignment.
That's a huge one. That is a huge one. And I don't think there's no one in this path that doesn't like, I think that's kind of like, I don't want to say you have to experience it, but there's really no shift without it. Like, if people shift with you, it's different, right? If they're shifting along with you, then you can kind of stay in the same lane. But when you're honoring that path for yourself, so many people are gonna fall off, and it's gonna be like, damn, I didn't realize how many people I had to like say goodbye to right now and just being focused. And then it gets very alone, right? Because it's like, why I still want people to talk to. I don't want to feel crazy. Luckily, I tell people I've created, of course, we're virtual because we're so all over the place, but we've created a support system so that we're not in this alone. So when we think we're going crazy, we got someone to hit up and be like, I know I'm not going crazy. Like, this is some crazy shit that just happened today. No, I'm not going crazy. So I think people have to try to find some type of support system, and it's not going to be your family and friends that you know, right?
I struggled with alignment, and I really like the title because how you put, isn't it supposed to be good? I realized getting myself back into alignment, which obviously I have many times over the years at different points. But one thing that I've noticed about myself in particular is you having to go through these uncomfortable shifts in order to straighten yourself out. It's something that it's not easy. Sometimes it can feel very uncomfortable. Like Louisa said, leaving people in the past that unfortunately they're just not on your path anymore. Or even working on your own alignment internally to doing things that's better for you. That's something that is very, very difficult to, because you have to leave certain people, things in the past, so you can work on yourself and do things that are better for you. So I noticed for me, that's something that it's like, yeah, once you get to that point of peace, it feels great. But the work that you have to put into during the process was a little bit more difficult for me.
Right. So when we say alignment, right? Because I remember now we use so many, especially I think where I'm at, I use a lot of spiritual terms that sometimes someone coming in will be like, what are you fucking talking about? I don't think I've ever used alignment in that way unless I was talking about a fucking alignment on my car. I never even think that I used to use that word without saying I need to go put an alignment on my car and besides that, I don't even think that was in my vocab. So now we kind of use it, and really understanding what that means is we, in so many ways, we have like a pre-plan of coming into this world. And you have your purpose, of course, what drives you. Then there's other, levels of your life, whether it be karma and lessons that you have to, not have to, but it's a part of the plan, because you can choose not to do it. You won't escape it, but at some point it'll come back around. So there's all these different avenues of your life. And especially when you're trying to make changes, I feel, for the good for yourself, right? It's not about good or bad, but what's best for you. And if you've done things that didn't align with your true heart, right? Because I can remember even being someone who would turn the cheek to some people's behavior. It wasn't towards me, right? Maybe they didn't do anything towards me. Maybe they didn't say anything, but their behavior maybe towards others. And
Mhm.
I know now that's something that I just can't turn that cheek no more. Like you know what I mean? It's just nothing that I can't do. And it's like, I can't be in that. Nope. I can't be in that environment. It's like, nope, no more. So even with that, just honoring stuff that I hold true to self has made me shift in a lot of ways too, where I'm like, damn, this doesn't feel good. Like I can't not say it. You guys ever, like, have you seen that, felt that so far?
Definitely. I've become Captain Save 'em because that's what I do, because I can't just sit by and watch the injustices that go on. And
Right,
even if it made me uncomfortable in the past before I got on this path, now it's like I no, I can't. Like it just doesn't sit with me, and I can't sit and watch and not take action.
right, right. I think a lot of people think walking into like spirituality or walking into an alignment means that you just always choose to be this meek, quiet person. And what I realize is that no, that's definitely not what it means, because there will be times that you are going to jump in that seat and use that voice to be that one. And I'm like, no, it's the discernment to understand when to speak up and when not to speak up. When are you wasting your time versus when the right time to jump in and be like, no, my voice needs to be heard because ain't nobody else saying shit right now, and having that discernment. Because I think we go through so much of people trying to make you feel bad. Like if you're not saying this because people are going to be offended or this, that, and the third. And it's like, so when is the right time to say something if you're in a moment where you're like, nobody else is going to speak up? This shit is not right. Like to the core of you, you know that it's not right. But that's a part of aligning yourself, because you're no longer going to deal with that bullshit. And we can use a lot of different scenarios, but it's like, no, I'm not going to sit back and be okay with this behavior. I'm not going to sit back and be okay with tolerance of bullshit because we're blood or because we've been friends for however many years. It's like, no, thank you. Y'all can have that. I love you from far.
Right? From afar. Perfect.
Yes. It doesn't feel good at first, because especially I think a lot of people go through where their voice was silenced for so many years, not having that voice, not even thinking you could have a voice, right? Not
Yeah.
even thinking that it mattered for you to speak up. No one's going to give a shit anyway, right? And then you start finding that voice and you're just like, this is my voice. But you're not saying it in a way to be derogatory. You're not doing it to be demeaning. You're not doing it to shit on someone. But I do feel there's times to speak up and use that voice, like, oh, well, if no one else is going to say something, I'm going to say something.
Yes, exactly. And just thinking of how this is so uncomfortable, another thing that came up for me was feeling. Like
Mhm.
before, I could mask a lot of my feelings, I could keep them to myself, but
Right.
the further into alignment I got, the more that I would feel. And okay, great. Who doesn't love those happy, feel good feelings?
Right.
But it was also those sad feelings that got amplified, those hurts, those angers. Everything is just so big,
Yeah.
when in the past I was able to ball it up a little bit, contain it, hold it back to be what society or anybody else needed me to be, or at least that's what I thought.
Right. Hey, you guys coming in. Um, that speaks volumes because how many times do you hear, oh, you're overly sensitive? Or I seem to hear a lot of like, oh, well, that's you're just being a woman or some shit like that. And it's like, excuse me, wait, what? The biggest thing is what you learn is that my feelings are valid, whether the fuck you understand them or not, whether you get it in this moment, my feelings are very, very valid in this moment. Doesn't mean you got to go off and go crazy on somebody because you're feeling it, but it's like, I don't know, I'm an honor. And that honoring your feelings in anything that you're going through has been huge. And it doesn't feel good, especially when you don't have people who understand that. They're not under, they can't grasp that. It's like, I remember I had a friend that his mind would just go to that, like, oh, you're being a woman. And I'm like, it has nothing to do with me being a woman or being emotional. I should be able to just tell you how I feel in this moment and you just receive that. We don't need to argue and fight. It's just, this is my opinion and feelings. You have yours. It's just like, no, okay, but yeah. So,
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But they either learn to accept these newfound feelings that you are now expressing, or they become one of those people that we leave behind because they can't handle the growth that we've had.
right, right, right.
Okay, for me, I think for me it was I've never oh, I'm gonna say I've never had, but in expressing myself, because I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, it's gonna come out how it's gonna come out. You either like it or don't like it. I don't care about that regardless. Cause my mentality is, excuse my language, fuck you and your feelings. As a work in progress, I gotta work on that. I know that. I know I have no tact. I know I gotta work on that. It's just progress. But my issue is I don't like I don't like to feel. I'm all for the feelings. I don't I was I never liked to cry, or I never liked to show anyone that side. It's okay if I did it in private, but I was not going to let you see that part of me, because if you and as crazy as this may sound, if I showed you that part of me, I'm gonna have to punch you in your face. I'm just sorry. You weren't. It was like you gonna see this, but then it's gonna have to self destruct. You just can't see that. That's G14 classified. That's just me. That was my mentality. You got to be special just to see that part. So for me to be that vulnerable, yeah, that's just a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say that's that Capricorn fighting that moon sign, Cancer moon, that,
Mm-hmm.
that internal battle. Well, I always say, like, I was not someone who dealt with emotions for the longest time. It was a struggle. I have a Gemini
Yep.
moon. I'm not naturally an emotional person. Quite. My Capricorn is in Venus, Katrina. So I understand that because if you saw me cry, I was either very pissed about to beat the shit out of you, or I was about to fuck up some shit, right? So you really,
Yep.
if you were on a part of a side to see me actually tears come out, it's one of two things, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
really that close to me where I felt comfortable, or you should run. Like that's probably,
Hmm.
you know. So it has taken me so many fucking exercises to just allow myself to cry no matter who's watching, to feel those emotions, to be even with my kids. Like, what hit me one time was my daughter was in her teens. And even though it still took me years after this to try to work on it, she was in her teens. And we had moved to Orlando. The boys was a baby. They were babies. And the baby daddy wasn't, around, and it was just me. My daughter couldn't get a job because she was like 15. She couldn't get assistance because she was a minor, and they counted my income. So they said she didn't qualify. So now I was this single mom with a 15-year-old and twin babies, and going to buy diapers, milk, and all of that out of pocket. And it took a minute for her to get WIC and all of that stuff. And it was so crazy. They had then I found out some apartments I owed on, and I couldn't get a place. So we lived in a hotel for like a year. And it was so crazy and hard that when the next year came, that same extended stay had changed the rules. They didn't want kids in the extended stay no more. So they started kicking families out. So we were trying to be a little bit quiet because we had the babies. They weren't kids, but they saw them and then put us out. Like literally, my daughter called me at work, like, we have to leave now. And I had to go. And I didn't have a car at the time. I was like in between payday, like, I mean, 2 days before payday, had zero money. No one could send us anything. So I had like just enough to basically get us maybe a room for like a night or two. Like I literally maybe had 100, maybe $200. The only rooms I could find, it was like $50 a night or something. So we literally had to pack up what we had because the rest of the stuff is in storage. We put it in a shopping cart and we was just walking down the main street to see like where the fuck we were going to be. And so I got us a room, and then my money, got us a room, got us something to eat. Money was like, what the fuck am I going to do? I literally got some money that it was like it came out of nowhere. And I was able to pay to get us another extended stay. And I just, in that moment with receiving that money, because I didn't have no one to go to, I just started crying. And my daughter was looking at me like, what's going on? Which way is this going to go? Because she don't know which way I'm going to go, because I just never cried. And she had told me, she was just like, Mom, I've probably seen you cry 2 times in my life. And I was like, what the fuck? And it hit me like I didn't realize that I was always crying in my car, in my shower, away from everyone, crying in my bed. I was never crying in front of anyone. I just didn't let anyone in to even give me that support or a fucking hug or something, right? And it's so foreign. And even, now I still kind of have that struggle. And my daughter be like, it's okay. And I'm like, ugh. Ugh. But I get it. Like, it's such a struggle because you get so used to being in that energy that you just don't know how to get back to allowing someone to give you that. And it's not about, because, I used to associate that vulnerability with someone thinking I'm weak, or someone thinking I want attention. And it's like none of those things. Just be in a moment and let somebody console you, just let some, like, who gives a fuck what they think? But it was that mindset, like, no, fuck that. I'm strong and no one's going to see me like, weak, and I'm not weak. And that's been one of the biggest ones. Whew.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right there with you. Never let them see you cry. And once it's like that dam truly breaks, it's like, damn, I'm tearing up right now. What is going on? And
Right.
when in the past that would not have happened. I remember I was literally called like the ice princess, because it would be like a sad movie or something sad happened in life, and I was just like straight face. I could give the emotional support, but my emotions locked in, like
Right.
fully locked in. And now it's not quite like that anymore. Instagram posts can make my eyes start burning up.
Just like you, Louisa. I was like identical to that. It's like I had no emotions, like there was like jokes because I like it's like, okay, she doesn't make boys cry. Like, and I saw a meme the other day and I was like, oh, this reminds me of my past, but it's like, okay, boys don't make her cry. She's the one that makes them cry, It's like, because I mean, showing emotions was something that I never really did. I would block
Mhm.
them in for so long that it's like if I'm crying, I don't know, like when even as a kid, my dad made it feel like you can't release those emotions. Like, you got to be strong, you got to be tough. But it's like when you finally start the process of working on yourself, there was one day I was just taking a bath and I was crying. And there wasn't like really a big like reason behind it, nothing sad. And then I started crying for like when I was happy. I mean, I get a
Mhm.
birthday card and just words written in it. I'm like, who are you? It's like a person you didn't even recognize, but it's just you're finally allowing certain feelings in, and it's a
Mhm.
pretty powerful thing.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite of what we all thought, that it was a sign of weakness. Like, no, it really is a
Right.
sign of strength to be able to connect to those emotions and show them and feel them and express them. Like that takes strength. And me watching other people, because I still struggle. While yes, I am a lot more outwardly sensitive than I've shown to be in the past, I still struggle to this day. But whenever I see somebody able to just share that part of themselves, it hits me, and I admire it. I value that in other people, because it's something that like I said, I'm still struggling to this day with, to just be
Mhm.
able to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a huge one. I think that and part of alignment is coming into alignment with your heart space. And so especially if you weren't raised to be in that heart space, if you heard, I'll give you something to cry about. You know what I mean? Like,
That's how I was.
Yep.
better shut up before I'll give your ass something to cry about.
Yep.
Yep.
Because and then it just keeps going. Because I remember saying, then becoming a parent saying that, like, why are you crying? I'll give your
Yep.
ass something to cry about. And you're not able to get or even understand what that is.
Yep.
My dad was Capricorn. My mom's a Libra. Not the most emotional
Oh,
sign. So
both of my parents are Libras, so I totally understand.
not
Mm.
that it's bad, but it's not an emotional sign. Her moon is a Gemini moon, like mine. And she's a Scorpio ascendant. Right.
Congratulations.
Who the fuck rolled the dice for those signs to be together?
That's a scary combo. Yeah.
I know both my parents is crazy. My dad's birthday is Halloween,
That's
Mm.
my birthday.
and my mama is a Gemini. Figure that one out.
Oof. Yeah, I was married to a Scorpio. I mean, it's weird though because I get along with Scorpio women, but I don't want to date one. I'm
I think it depends on the rest of that chart because I'm like, are
Um,
you
oh,
really
Yeah.
a Scorpio or is there more in that chart?
no, my chart's all sass for sure. Like I'm doomed. Takes a special type of person to put up with my shit.
yeah.
Yep.
Debbie Manning, she's also on Halloween. I knew that already. And yes, Sherry, exactly. I say that all the time when somebody is crying. It's how we naturally cleanse our body. The salt water is washing us out. It's washing the negativity. It's cleansing us. So yes, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I could sit and I could see people cry, and it depends on how they're crying, and sometimes it will irritate my soul. And like, so somebody, if you're crying and yeah, you might got bad news, or somebody, and you're crying, and it's like, oh, you just feel bad because they're crying, and you just want to make them feel better. But if somebody is sitting there, and I mean, they got the ugly cry going on, and I mean, they just snotting, and it's just hysterical, and they just like, and I'm sitting, I'd be like, if you don't carry your ass somewhere and go get your whole life together and come back and regroup, and then we can have a conversation to figure out what the fuck is wrong with you.
I cannot with you, Katrina.
Right.
I've been there though. I can relate to that. I used to be like, why the fuck is this person crying? And it wasn't up until I had my car accident when I was in 24 when I was actually able to show emotion. That was my first awakening.
Mm-hmm.
I was the same way. I'm like, why are they? I'm just look at them like, why are you crying? I don't cry whenever I'm angry. So like, what the fuck are you guys crying for?
No, like I said, it's fine. I get it. You cry, you whatever. But I mean, if you just sitting there like you damn near about to fall out, twitch on the ground and rolling around, and you just got the whole you just about to get an Academy Award, Oscar, all of the above, and you might have just stumped your damn toe. Like, get your life, get your whole life.
What if it hits them that hard though? It may not, the biggest thing
Then
that
get the hell away from me. Get the hell away from me till you can regroup and get yourself together. Go rinse your face off.
That's some of the things that I've realized where because compassion, right?
Okay.
That term compassion, we do lack it hugely because in those moments of having that compassion, you won't be like, why the fuck are you on the floor? You know what I mean? You won't go to that space. You'll be like, well, damn, this is really hurting this person. So it's just a matter of working on what that is, because I'm when I used to be very shut off, I would be like right there, like, what the fuck is, why are you crying? And it's crazy because my daughter has Cancer moon. So she was a very emotional child and I could not deal with it. Like I would be like, okay, are you any limbs? I would make sure she don't have nothing broke. Okay, 2 seconds. Okay, now suck it up, deal with it, put some dirt on it. Let's move on. So I was not the best mom to work with her emotions and allow her, because she would get so emotional. It would be like, I can't process this. I would feel like it's too much for me. But I realized because I was not in tune with those emotions, I was not in tune with to feel in that way. I was so cut off. Like you could drop dead in front of me and be like, damn, that sucks. Like that's kind of the energy. But now the shift, I can't see that. Like I can't watch shit where people are being hit and stuff like that has happened. There was a time where I could watch all of that shit and be okay. I can't even watch people getting into a fight without it affecting me on this crazy ass level now. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Okay, I give you an instance one time. My husband, because we're both Capricorns. He's December Capricorn, I'm a January Capricorn. I think he's just a Capricorn by default. That he just made the cusp. He's a he ain't a real Capricorn. So I'm upstairs. We both in the military at the time. I'm upstairs. He comes upstairs, and one of our sons got some bad news about a friend. So he says, your son downstairs, he, got some bad news about a friend. He's downstairs crying. In my logic, he's one, Lord, I know we should not stereotype men and their emotions and feelings. I get all that. And men should be allowed to cry. I get all of that. Go for it. So in my mind, okay, he might be downstairs a little upset, crying a little bit, So I'm like, okay, let me go down here and see what's wrong with my son. I get downstairs. This boy is at my kitchen table. When I tell you his whole entire face looked like somebody threw a bucket of water on him. Aww. He's hyperventilating. He got snot everywhere. He can't talk. You would have thought somebody took a belt and whooped this boy. I'm standing here looking at him. I'm looking at him. And I literally wanted to knock him into next week, next year, 20 years from now, Back to the Future, current, and then again. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to be that parent and disregard his feelings. So now I'm talking to myself, having 5 conversations in my head because I don't want him my emotions to show on my face on what I'm
Mm.
really thinking, and I want to really knock his head inside his body. So I'm trying to be consoling. I'm trying. So I say, I ask him what's wrong. Of course, he can't talk. So as I feel like I'm about to lose it, I say, go in the bathroom, wash your face off, clean yourself up, regroup, calm down, breathe. It'll be okay, son. We can talk about it later. So then he goes in the bathroom. I go back upstairs to my husband. And then I commence to say what I really wants to say and let it go. Like, what did you really set me up for this? He
It
did.
was
So
really
then
hard
his
though.
so then his response was, well, I didn't know what to do. And I did. Like,
Obviously, the hell not. Well, obviously you did. You did
You
it. You
did
did what?
though. You actually did because you didn't say what you were thinking, which would have been horrible for you.
Right. The
That would have been
poor
so
boy
horrible.
distraught.
But you did the right thing because he's processing how he can process. May not always understand that, but yeah, getting in those emotions to even have that compassion to understand that how this is affecting someone, how hurt they may be, and not always feel a type of way of where we think they should be. It's like, oh, just okay, what can I do to assist? Is there anything I can do to assist? Not the easiest transition though, getting into those emotions. I'm not gonna lie, because I still say, be like, why y'all trying to make me cry? You trying to make me cry today?
I get it's work in progress.
Hmm?
She said
It's a
it's a
work in
work in
progress.
progress. And it is. But you know what? You you did what you needed to do that day. And hopefully one day it won't make you want to knock somebody out.
I get it. I used to. Man, I'm guilty of it. Where my daughter would be crying over something, and I'd be like, "Why the fuck do you care? Like, why are you crying over this bullshit?" Because to me, I had already been through so much in my life. I couldn't understand it. It's like you having regular little kid shit. Like, why is this a big thing? Like, why are you fucking crying? Like, it could be so much worse. But that was very inconsiderate, and I had no compassion. I didn't know what compassion was. I've had to literally learn what that means. Like that was foreign to me. And I have no problems with admitting that that word, that term was very foreign to me to understand. I'm very nurturing and loving to an extent. And I have been very giving out. I mean, my family know I will go out for them. I've been that person, but the compassion stuff has always been limited. You're only going to get so much compassion from
Mhm.
me before I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, before I go there. And so, one of the biggest things is in this past has made me come back. Like, I don't want to be mean, and I don't want to, even if that's, I know that maybe I need to say it a certain way and I can't. I need to come back and find how can I maneuver without it being, you know what I mean, without not
Mhm.
understanding. So it's been a road to understand what compassion is. And if you weren't taught that, if you didn't see that, if you didn't have it instilled in you, it's a process to get that, to just take that step back and not be, because I would be very short fused with my compassion. Like, oh well, that's what you fucking get, like, yeah, I shouldn't have been down there, and it took me a while. Like, that's probably not the most appropriate thing to say to someone because we all fuck up and we all make these mistakes. But then I also didn't have that self compassion either. So all the shit that I've done, it was just like, man, if I was as harsh as I was to everyone else, I was 20 times harsher to self.
Mhm.
So going through the exercises, I realized how fucking horrible I was to self and how much I had put on my own shoulders by not even being able to understand that compassion to self. And I damn sure didn't understand how to give it to other people. And when you're moving, we're talking about alignment. When you're shifting, there's no way to go around it because everything is heart space. Everything is heart space. And you're just like, where the fuck was I raised? Like, no disrespect, mom. Just like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like, no, it's just like, where was this? Because it was like, man, I didn't have this. I don't have it. And then I look at my signs and I'm like, well, I can kind of see what
Mm-hmm.
some of these signs I can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know for me, I take everything personal. I
Mm.
take
Yeah.
everything personal.
Is that the Cancer moon? Because I noticed Cancer is
I
like,
I take everything personal, and I hate for you to try to play on my intelligence. Don't play on my intelligence. Don't. That's the word. That's the word. Yeah. Don't, because that pisses me off. Don't
Yep.
don't try to don't play on my intelligence, and don't talk to me like I'm stupid. Because now you really gonna get the other side.
My moon is a Virgo, so
mm.
yeah.
Yeah, see, Victoria's a Cancer. You know what I'm talking about. Cancers be taking everything hard. You be like, calm down, just chill out for just. I have strong Virgo in my chart, so you have
Yeah.
that as
So
a
my
moon.
yeah my moon is a
Yeah,
Cancer. Yeah, my moon's a Cancer.
Mm, mm,
we
mm.
love Jesus too. Jesus was in one of my healing sessions at one time. He's actually a pretty cool guy.
Steve Watts. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, my moon
Yeah.
is a Cancer.
Well, I know my Capricorn rising has given me that stoicness. My
Aren't, aren't,
Scorpio
aren't,
no.
aren't we the best? Aren't we the best?
No, I was just talking with my daughter because we was looking at the signs and she was asking me some questions and she was trying to understand um, the cardinal signs fixed. What does that mean? And I was like, well, let's break it down. You got Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn who lead the seasons. So they always think they're number one. And she started laughing, of course, because she's not only is she a Aries sun, she's a Cancer moon, and she's a Libra ascendant. So I was like, this is why you always think you are number one before everybody else. And then I said, then you have the fixed signs that come next, like Taurus, you got Leo, you got
Scorpio and
Scorpio and Aquarius, which is the fixed signs, meaning that they're not really going to bend in what they believe. So whatever was programmed with them when they were little, they're going to hold true to that shit for the rest of their life until they have their own major tower moments. They're going to be very fixed in that energy.
Oof.
They have immutable signs. You got Gemini, Virgo, Sag, Pisces, that are the ones that could shift. They could be either or, and they ain't gonna stay. One day they could think this, the next day they could think that. And those are the most people that get deemed fake. But it's not about being fake. They care what they care for today. Tomorrow I might not give a fuck about this shit. And I have Sag, Virgo, Gemini in my chart. So I'm someone who could believe something today and then tomorrow wake up and be like, I don't give a fuck about that shit. Don't tell me like, I don't care about that. And somebody else could be still in that shit. I'm like, leave me alone. I don't care about that. That was yesterday. That was 2 weeks ago. That was a year ago. I don't care.
And see, that's why I say like, and that's why when I looked at mine, like I'm 100% Capricorn. Like it's no way I'm getting from it. It's like if you go, I'm 100% Capricorn. When you look at my husband, like I said, he a fake Capricorn. He's like he's really a sad.
Wait,
I'm
what's the
telling you.
what's
Remember,
his
remember you. Remember he's
cut.
a Capricorn by date only. I swear if you look at he's a Capricorn only by date. He is. He's on you look at mine, I'm 100% Capricorn.
Well, your moon sign
Uh-huh.
is Cancer. What's your rising sign?
Aries.
You're not 100% Capricorn.
I'm more Capricorn than he is.
You know what crazy part is? Aries and Capricorn, very similar.
Hmm.
Very
His
similar. What is his rising?
his was I gotta hold on, let me look at my phone. I'm telling you, his I looked at his daggone his chart. I was like, oh yeah, he fake. He fake.
He's fake. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he fake. He not real. He fake.
At
Yeah, he fake.
first, my chart, my big three, I felt like were fighting one another. But as I've grown into myself, they've grown to complement one another.
Hmm.
Because the Scorpio with the privacy, and I could be very vindictive and whatnot. But then the Sagittarius with the freedom and just needing to do whatever they need to do when they're feeling it, and then the Capricorn with that structure. It was like I'm bouncing all around over here, and now
Hmm.
like it's turned into more of a flow, a dance where I can pull from each part of my big three and the rest of my chart as well to make it make sense for me. So that's how I've grown into it. That's how I use it because yeah, we have all of these attributes which do come from our chart, our birth chart.
Hmm.
Now, having that knowledge can help you because then you can learn how to work with it. It's not just, oh, I'm a Scorpio, so I have to be private forever. I
Right.
just have to be that steel trap.
Right.
It's like, all right, I know this is something that is kind of sort of ingrained in me. So, yes, I have to do a little bit more work to share parts of myself than maybe somebody else who's a bit freer.
Hmm. Yeah, my son is the only Sag in my chart. It's the only Sag in my chart. I have strong Virgo in my chart, and that's also my rising sign. And Virgo and Gemini are both ruled by Mercury. So Mercury is a huge, dominant planet in my in my chart.
Every retrograde. Ah, no wonder it's so fun for you.
It's crazy because most of the time I'm not doing bad in retrogrades. It depends on where it's at in the star system. So
Right.
depends on what sign it is that'll fuck me up, right? Because sometimes I'm chilling and everybody's like, "Oh my god, this retrograde," and I'm over here like, "What retrograde?"
Mm-mm.
Um,
Love that for
but
you.
you know, my Mercury is in Scorpio, so it made sense to me looking at it because I've had some very dark ass thoughts in this life, right? And I would be like, why the fuck do I go straight to this, the darkest place I can, and then realizing how because the way Scorpio is, just the way the energy is, it just goes into that mystical dark place. It just that's what it
Mhm.
is. So it made me realize, like, oh, okay, I get it. I
Yeah.
really gotta watch this shit. I really gotta start watching. So I remember when I met Nicole, one of the things that Nicole was like, when you have thoughts that come in, because if we're going into what I think is what I create, right? It was like, she was like, use it. She was like, uncreate and destroy. She something like that. It was like uncreate and destroy that thought in every time, space, place. And so now the second some shit comes in, because it's not like I could stop it. It's not going anywhere, right? Anytime it happens, I'm like, nope, uncreate that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No, definitely. And for me, I'm trying to work more. I don't have, I think I only have my North Node in Cancer,
mhm,
but that's like what I'm supposed to accomplish in this life.
right.
So,
That's huge.
yeah, my my South is in Capricorn, which is all about my past life part. So yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that structure. I'm good with that money management and all of those characteristics of the Capricorn
Right.
because I've lived it, I've done it. But now embracing those emotions and feeling that flow
Mhm.
is like, but
That's
the
rough.
more I do it, the more in alignment I continue to get. And
Yeah.
I think that's one way to help yourself with the struggle of coming into alignment is
Mm.
not fighting it, is working with it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All of these things are beautiful tools if you look at it, because my North Node is Virgo, also strong Virgo. So I'm so good at being a loner. I'm so good at it, and that's not what I'm supposed to be in this life. I'm supposed to be out, and hence me being on social media because I cannot get it to get myself out. But I've
Physically.
created a space in this place. But yeah, it's a cool tools to help you navigate and on stay if you're falling off or you think you're falling off or you don't know where you're supposed to be.
No.
Definitely is a huge thing. Even the human design, which I'm going to have Lacey on a podcast soon. We're going to talk about human design, which is another tool. If you're not really in astrology, I would tell you definitely look up human design because it's another tool to kind of break down big pieces and tell you kind of, some structure what you should be doing, especially if you're lost and don't know where to go.
Yeah.
Definitely, which that coincides with the astrology for me of what I'm supposed to be doing. And if you took like even the numerology or life path
Yeah.
and you put it to that, I'm a number 4, which is the emperor. And so that emperor is someone who creates and builds, you know. So it's crazy that all of these tools are out there that you can use and to help you and to be like, oh shit, all right, well this I could see how I've been stuck. I could see where I've allowed myself to be stuck and not in alignment because it was written. There's a plan. Remember, we said you come in with a plan. There are certain things that you're supposed to experience. There are certain things that you're supposed to learn. There is a plan. This life is not just madness and chaos, even though it feels like that.
Right.
Um, and we, unfortunately, society has created itself based on things, all kind of things. We could go into that. That's a whole nother podcast, right?
Yeah.
About society, but you'll know that you're not in alignment because of how you feel, what's going on with you. And when you get caught up in the society's shit that they're telling you to do versus where your soul is like, that's not for us. That's where it doesn't feel good to be in alignment because I want to be over there doing that, but to be in alignment, I got to be over here, and this doesn't feel good to be over here by myself. And I think that too is a huge part of it. Like, well, I'd rather be over there with everybody else, you know?
For me, I'd rather be alone. Like I've learned that I don't want to deal with anyone else's shit. I don't.
It took
I
me
got enough of my own
to
shit to
learn.
deal with.
Sometimes it takes a minute to get there and like really understand that, like, you know what, I actually am better off without like these people around me. But
You know?
it's rough to stay in alignment because alignment does not stay either. I'm a creature of habit, and I get in my little bubble and I like that. So when spirit starts to like, all right, you've got to this level, now it's time to go here, and it's like physical, and I'm like, whoa, we just got here, we've been good. Like, why do we need to move? Why do we need to change? Why do I need to do? And so that can create that whole anxiety and not feeling like you want to move to that next level because it's like, now what do you mean I got to shift again? Again? I don't know if I want to.
All about those shifts, all about finding that alignment. And just like Vanessa was saying earlier, her first awakening. So it's not even that it can happen only one time.
Right.
We can have multiple. And each one is usually pretty uncomfortable. And this is just something to be ready for. They don't all have to be hard and the worst thing in the world that
Right.
you encounter, but it's very much less likely for the ones that are a little easier, a little smoother. And I've luckily been pretty lucky that I have had some of those moments where I've been able to ease into it. But I think that's also because I didn't
Mhm.
fight a lot of the changes that came my way. And I just was like, all right, well, maybe it's the Scorpio, that transformation. And my Lilith is also in Scorpio. So
Right.
transforming and changing, like, all right, cool. I'm with it. And then I do have quite a bit of Sagittarius in my chart also, the planet Jupiter of luck. So I'm
Right.
going to say I have been lucky in that sense, although I have had some very difficult moments. All, all in all,
Right.
it's been okay. They
Oh.
just
Man, people don't know when you got that Jupiter. Jupiter definitely comes in
cluck.
to save the day. It's just like, thank you for giving me that much. Yeah. I think hands down, everything about this path is awareness and just moving along. And I remember, okay, yeah, I had my awakening, and it was like, what the fuck am I going through now? Another awakening? Wait a minute, the third, the fourth? How many fucking awakenings is there? Like, wait, they did not tell me this. Walk it into this path. But those are the shifts because, and then you realize it's because that old version of self can't go, and it's like, damn, you
Yeah,
really have to shift into this new person and this new side, and you don't know what that's going to look like, which is scary. And
Mhm.
that's that uncomfortable, that's where it doesn't feel good, because you got to let go of what was and what was comfortable, what was safe, what you knew,
mhm.
to then step into the meat suit of whoever the fuck we're growing into. And I don't know that person, I don't know what they're going to do, I don't know. And it's
Yes,
like, oh
Yep.
shit. Yeah, that's
yeah.
been probably the roughest part because of I would say my Virgo of the overthinking, and I need to know. That Virgo be killing me in this life, be killing me in this life.
I can imagine, and that is one thing I haven't been able to avoid, that pain from the growth. Even if I went along with it, it still hurts.
Right.
It still hits, and oh, the soul crushing tears that have come at times. It's like,
Right.
damn,
Because you are gonna cry. You are gonna go through these it's not just la la la, we're what I mean? La la la, we're shifting. Shifting means actually leaving people that you love behind. Shifting means leaving hurts and traumas and pains behind. Leaving means leaving the comfort of what you know to be true and opening up to other possibilities. And the other truths aren't pretty. It's not like all the truths are just, yeah, all rainbows and butterflies. It's like some of this shit is dark as fuck. And like, I'm trying to help myself from not being in fear right now from the shit that's coming through. Like, and you want me to just keep shifting? Jesus, what is this? It's pretty crazy. And I think that's one of the biggest people are like, man, I don't know if I want to be in alignment. I had told you guys like my goddaughter, she, had started I gave her some tips. She started to really meditate every morning, and then she went into this like dream state, and spirit was basically telling her like you're going to have to come back, and she was like no, no, no. She's like, no, I don't want to come back. And they were basically telling her, like, you're gonna come back because especially when you don't want to shift or you're not doing those alignments, right? You don't grow or move, you're gonna be coming back. And then it was showing her how the lifetimes go in reincarnation and things like that. And she just got so sad. She was like, I just want to be in this life with my baby and and be in this life. She was like, can I just take it all away? And I was like, no, once you know, once you open it, there's no going back, right? once you open up this stuff, it's just like there's no going back to what was. And I think that sometimes is depressing and sad,
Mhm.
and heartbreaking, to say the least, because what you know now, what you've uncovered, is now like heavy. Now you got to work through that shit, right?
That's why they say ignorance is bliss, because when you don't know, you can just go on and live the lie that exists in the world.
Right.
But once you know, you can't unlearn it. Like you said, it's it's there.
Mm.
Yeah. It's pretty rough. I know we're coming up on the hour. I don't know what all you guys have heard or stuff, but I definitely don't want to go into fear, because none of this stuff comes up for fear. But I definitely feel like hopefully you guys are doing just your diligence to kind of look up out there and look what's coming towards you. Look what information is coming towards you. Unfortunately, I don't know what you guys have seen, but I have seen a lot of stuff about pandemic number two coming by 2025. And it
What
is
is
a
supposed
long,
to be?
don't know what that is. I haven't got that message yet. I'm still asking for spirit to show me. And then of course I'm not able to get in the quantum field as much. I wish I was able to do more sessions so I could get in there and ask more questions. But just from what is all coming, it does seem like something is coming by 2025. So I wanted to just see, what have you guys been hearing? Anything coming across you guys?
I haven't heard anything, but from this last COVID and its babies, I never stopped the same protocol. Well, I before COVID anyway, I've always hoarded cleaning supplies. I've always
Right.
been a germaphobe. I've always had OCD way before COVID. I've never stopped wearing masks, spraying Lysol. So I mean, if it's coming, it's coming. Me personally, I'm trying to hurry up and get back to Texas anyway, because I plan on going back to gardening and
Mhm.
getting me some chickens, even though I don't eat eggs. Um, but I can throw a chicken in the pot, and I can go
Right.
hunting and I can go fishing. Um,
Right.
so if I got to shoot a bird out the air, I'm gonna eat. So it
Yeah.
is what it is.
A lot of the messages are become as self-sufficient as you can. And again, I don't say any of this for you guys to be fearful or go into a panic or any of that. But if you have not realized this yet, you are being pushed to get more self sufficient. You are being pushed to grow more of your food. And I know a lot of times our generations have grown up with everything instant, everything easily accessed. And I do believe that in 2020, we were shown that like shit could shut down at any moment and you'll be asked out. Your family will be asked out. So we were supposed to, and I say we because it's not like implemented a lot of things. I'm now doing it because I'm taking the time to do it, because the messages just keep coming too heavy, and I can't ignore the messages now. But that is to become that, to grow, to be that, whatever it is that you need to be more self sufficient. Whether that's acquiring your land, and if you, I don't know if you guys saw the 15-minute city plan that's coming, the 15-minute cities, where they're
Mm-mm.
trying to take rural land from people and push them more into the heavier populated city areas. And yeah, so that is something that's coming up also, that is out there. And again, it's not to be afraid, but hopefully it's just like, if 2020 didn't show us anything, it was supposed to show us to really wake up and get informed. You know, you have to do your diligence. You, like, people have gone back to life like if everything it went back to the same, space and time, and we're not. Things are getting rougher out there. There is this behind the scenes war going on, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. It's happening. It's not so much just demons and angels and all of that shit. It's so much more on the back end going on. And you have to get informed. You have to do your diligence, because otherwise you'll get stuck in a space of that panic and that now I need to try to survive type shit. Now, now I need to see what am I going to do? And just, check in with your teams, see what your teams are telling you to do. If your teams are telling you to do something, go somewhere, prepare something, then do it as quickly as you possibly can and don't bullshit. I think a lot of you guys will see a lot more of my podcasts and messages coming through just with more information on that. And again, it's like one of the things they keep telling me is don't fear it, just acknowledge this and start to put into the plan because yeah, spiritual warfare. And it's something that's been happening. It's been happening. So it's not like it's just started. I know people, I'm not going to go into conspiracy theory stuff, but these ain't conspiracies. Like the shit is in a lot of people's face. It's there. It's just, do you want to basically acknowledge and how do you want to live? Because I'm not afraid of a pandemic. I wasn't I went through a small, tiny phase of being afraid in COVID when it first hit. And then I quickly kept hearing not to be afraid, not to be afraid. Like that was the message that I kept getting. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna be afraid of this shit. Fuck it. And everyone was getting the vaccine, and Spirit was like, you don't have to. And I was like, all right, I'm not gonna do it. And I mean, I drove everywhere, and everyone knows I drove to different states. I mean, I was putting my hand on many pumps, gas pumps, never got sick. I was going cross country. I was out there. So I just didn't, I just, if the establishment said have a mask and I didn't want to wear it, I didn't go in that establishment. That's kind of how I rolled. I feel like you got to do what's best for you. Unfortunately, one of the biggest messages on the spiritual side was that within 3 years that the effects of those vaccines were going to kick in, and that's something that's actually happening today. A lot of people are now coming up with the effects now hitting them, and people shutting down in different areas of their body. So I think now, and what's his name, Fauci, they have all of these documents and stuff coming up on him, and you just gotta, again, get informed, you guys. Not just the news. I'm not just talking about the news. There's other ways to get information out there, and just make sure that you guys are staying on top of that just to see where things are going and how it's headed. Because not saying you got to be afraid if you choose to get one of the things when the vaccines were a thing and people were telling me, asking me, what do you think? And I'm like, man, I can't give you that answer. I can't tell you what to do. That's a personal choice that you got to do. And one of the things I remember is Nicole, she's a theta healer. She was just like, I asked her, what can I say? Because I'm not going to tell anyone to take it or don't take it. My personal reasons are mine. And she was just like, make sure to let them know if they take it. You set the intention that I take it and I'm not going to be harmed by it. Not to say that it won't harm you, not to say that it can't affect you. But that's something you got to dig deep within you to say, damn, this is something I should or shouldn't put in my body. Um, I personally, if you don't need to, why do it? Right? Like, I mean, me personally, I don't see I don't see the reason for them. I know that they say this, but they came up with that drug way too fucking quickly for me. Like, it was like pandemic, here goes a vaccine. Like,
I think for me with when the pandemic happened, because I had my dad with me, my
mm,
focus was to keep him safe because he
right,
was stage 5 end stage renal disease, dialysis 3 days a week.
right,
It was taking him to doctor's appointments, um, taking him to the dialysis center, back to my house. You wasn't allowed to come to my house. If you came to my house, you came in through the mud room. You got sprayed with Lysol. You had to have a mask on, sterilized, wash your hands, but whatever. Because at the end of the day, if he got COVID, I'm the one that's got to take care of him, not you. You gonna carry your ass home.
right,
He got to
right,
go to the hospital. I'm the one that's gonna be in the hospital with him, not you.
right,
So it was my focus was him not getting him COVID and keeping him safe.
right,
When I had my house, I had a garden. That was my me time. That was my peace. That was my we ate out the garden. It wasn't an issue. I knew what I had to do. We did soil samples to make sure the
mhm,
the my vegetables grew. So it was, I mean, it's not hard if you really gonna garden. It's not hard. All you gotta do is do soil samples and put the nutrients back in the ground,
Right.
Very true.
and your garden will be fine.
Pretty much.
For me, what's come up is just taking care of your health,
Mm,
putting that first, doing what you can as a preventative measure versus let me fix it measure. Let me do this after the fact.
Yeah,
So
being proactive and not reactive.
right.
exactly, exactly. So taking care of yourself by moving your body, staying hydrated. And it's not just what you're putting into yourself, what you're putting into your mind.
Mm,
And I did not watch the news. And even as a nurse,
right.
I wasn't all up on the information that was coming out. And that's why some people were angry because I'm like, no, take care of yourself. And I would tell them things that they could do to help take care of themselves, but they wanted to live in that fear state. And
Mm,
so they got angry because I refused to be in that fear state. I was like, no, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to stay healthy. I'm going to keep moving my body, bringing good food into my body. And that's what's going to keep me where I need to be as a nurse or just as a civilian on the streets.
definitely. Definitely. I feel like it goes hand in hand with taking care of yourself and even what you're listening to. And that's why I say don't just go into watching the news because that's not the greatest space. You really have to expand on where you get information and don't just believe everything. I'm not saying believe everything we're saying on this podcast because you have to take it to your own heart and your own mind and say, is this something I need to do? But definitely getting healthier with everything that you do in your life, better practices, a healthier lifestyle, and more self-sustainable than being dependent on others. Because the more you're dependent on anything, other people, and we talk about codependency, right? On a lot of things, and then it's like, oh shit, I'm codependent on this person or that person. I'm codependent on Walmart's food. You know, I'm codependent to get this, that, and a third. Even when it comes to like we look at back in the day and they had tinctures and stuff that you used at home. And not everybody's gonna be a herbalist, of course, right? But there's some very really natural and easy remedies for stuff that you can do. Very easy stuff that you don't have to be you have a doctorate to understand to put together to use versus seeking a pill, seeking medicine, seeking those over the counter things. It's very easy to boost the immune system with natural shit. You know, we've been so pushed to just use a bunch of stuff. And the more I'm at now is the more I'm told about how my own body was genetically fucked up by things that I put in my body. And that's something that still today, after years, that my body is still trying to get out, still trying to filter out. And it's not, and I don't understand all the things yet. When I do, of course, I'll talk to you guys and tell you about that more in depth, but I'm still fighting that. So it makes me realize how a lot of the stuff that we intake and put in our body and our thought space, all of that stuff creates this paradigm for us. And then it's just like, fuck, now, you're trying to get out of it. You're trying to do better. You're trying to move, and it's rough. It's definitely rough. So I'm not saying don't get them, y'all. If they have another set of vaccines, y'all do you, and you do what's best for you and your family. But unfortunately, it does look like something is coming, and I feel like I can not say it, right. I've had quite a few dreams about just very huge catastrophes happening, right? And so it just makes me feel like the stuff that's coming around is like we do need to make sure that we're looking at how do you instill some things in your life. And it goes with your alignment because for me, I know I'm aligning a certain way, which is creating this uncomfortable space for me right now, right? I don't know shit about gardening or growing shit, right? So this is another space that I'm trying to figure it all out. And it's just like, okay, well, here we go. We're gonna do it. Although our microgreens are looking really good, y'all. Got some microgreens. They've sprouted really pretty. I'll probably post them tomorrow or something so y'all can see. But it is these going into that space of being able to shift and allowing yourself to just receive also. Are you receiving the messages? Because fear will take you the opposite way. Fear will take you in another direction where it'll be harder for you. In alignment, even though it's scary, even though it's uncomfortable, even though it could be hurtful, it's actually going to get you to where you need to go if you allow yourself to follow spirit and follow, where they're giving you those clues, whether it's your dreams, whether you're someone who gets in meditation and meditates and asks your guides, whether you channel through angels or goddesses or whoever it is that you connect with. Look at that. What is your gut, what's your body saying when you're telling and talking about these things that are coming up? Is it fear, or is it like, no, ding ding, this is hitting me on up, my antennas are coming up, like, okay, this is some shit I need to listen to. What is your body saying also?
Yeah, no, definitely. And again, and I know I've said it tons of times, but you got to get uncomfortable before you get comfortable. So we deal with the difficult parts of this alignment, of changing our ways, of becoming the person that we are meant to be.
Right.
But we got to get through the uncomfortable stage, because that's where we grow. That's where we learn. That's where we're able to ascend.
Yeah. And we got some uncomfortable collective moments coming, y'all. So do your diligence, get informed. I would say get connected to your teams. If nothing else, get connected to your teams because they're going to show you what you need to be and what you need to be doing. Make sure that you have a clear communication with your spirit team, okay? Whether it's your guides, with your ancestors, because I feel like they're going to be the ones that are going to help you a lot with all of the misinformation out there, all of the shit going around. I think if you just focus on that and the rest of the stuff that you're hearing, if you're hearing to get healthier, shit, jump on that. If that's what you hear, it's fucking everywhere in front of you. You keep seeing certain shit coming up, like, okay, let me change my diet.
Right?
Let
Or
me
you can
stop.
jump on the challenge that Ariana and I are doing.
30 days, mind, body, and soul, you guys. We start on the 15th. It's $15 to join. We are going to push ourselves. And it's what made me actually think of this was I wanted to do a reset for my body. Most resets require you to juice for a certain amount of time. That is very hard for me to do at this moment. It's just, I live with kids. They always have snacks. It's just sometimes it's like, it's hard. So right now, juicing for 10 days is not going to be it. So when you're thinking of things to do, you can't, not that you can't, but you don't want to do shit that if I do this, I know it's not going to work right now. So trying to think of something that would challenge me to do sort of a reset that would push me past this kind of place that I'm at. I was like, why not challenge? Why not do a challenge and do the mind, body, soul, and spirit to have things that push you to do things out of your normal, push you to get out of your normal, but not necessarily doing something that right now I know I could not do and I wouldn't succeed in that. Because there's no reason to set yourself up for failure when you know it's something that you can't do. But a challenge is a challenge. You're challenging yourself every day. If you don't get everything done, you don't get everything done, but you're challenging yourself to get out of that normal and put yourself first. Because at the end of the day, it's about putting you first and getting some things done for you. And so that's what the challenge was. Why I was like, so what can I do to boost or reset for me? Like, what could I do that would instill that? Because I'm naturally competitive. So, of course, I want my gold star at the end of the day.
Have a gold star.
I want my gold star. So, what better way to get my gold star but to put myself in a challenge? Like, come on. Yeah, I definitely feel like you guys, if you need any help, of course, you guys know where to find us. But just yeah, it's definitely shift time. And if you didn't shift, I think my biggest thing is to just say if you didn't shift when 2020 came, you definitely have to shift now, because you will be forced to shift soon. And they don't give me no dates, they won't give me no dates because, of course, why, right? Why give me some fucking dates? But all they said is soon, sooner than I would like. Like basically that was the message. Like soon shit is shifting. And there's so much, like I said, going on the back end. So just no fear. It is really empowerment, empowering yourself to change, to where's your soul calling you. Um, I just hope y'all for the best of for you, whatever that is for you, you know, without taking in that. I get sad talking to them, talking to them sometimes because it just sometimes it's sad. My heart space is like I love humanity in that way where it's like I know we're so shitty, but I know humanity is shitty, but they like can't we get it together?
Some of us will.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know if y'all got any last things you guys want to tell them about trying to get into alignment. Don't beat yourself up if you're not. Don't beat yourself up if you haven't kicked the coffee or the Snickers or whatever it is that that's not in alignment with you, right? Don't kick yourself or beat yourself if you're not in complete alignment. Just keep working towards it.
Yeah, definitely. And the hard days, they don't stay forever. The time will pass. So just give yourself that grace, be patient and understanding. Don't beat yourself up for what you're feeling or for what you need to do and where you need to change and who you may need to leave behind, because if they're meant to be in your life, they will find their way back into it.
Yep. Yep. I think that's the fear though, right? The fear of loss.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, I don't want to lose them. And then
Mm-hmm.
you realize you're never going to lose them. Not really. It's
Yeah.
just, it's never a loss. Mm. All right, you guys are going to make me sad. Get the hell up off of here. I'm all in my feels now, like, oh.
Just keep some joy in your heart and still do things that bring you pleasure along with everything else.
All right, y'all. We are going to end this. Thank you guys so much for coming up. Thank you guys for coming on and just chopping it up with me. We will do this next month, you guys. Again, of course, I will post. Normally, it's in the morning. I don't know. I like it in the evening. Trying to get up in the morning is like, I don't even know why I tried to be a morning person anymore. I really don't know why I try.
No.
We'll see what happens next month. I'm going to try to be on time, though.
We'll see.
All right, you guys. Good night. Sending you so much love, so much light. Until next time. Bye.